Okay, today we're going to show you how to milk a venomous snake. Today I'm going to use one of my water moccasins or cotton mouse. And I do two ways of milking them. One way I tube them, and the other way I'll pick them up from behind their head. Now, I don't pick them up from behind their head anymore with my bare hands. It's not necessary because I do own a good pair of Hex Armor gloves that protects my hands quite a bit. So if I grab them and they turn their head a little bit and try to bite at me, I'm not going to end up getting bit, most likely. And we have our sophisticated milking device here. I don't know if any of you recognize what this is, but this actually is my wife's oil burner. You put water and oil into the top part, a little tea candle on the bottom, and it heats it up and it makes the room smell good. But it also makes a heck of a milking device, so it's sturdy and it's easy to use, so I stole it from her. She's a pretty good sport about things like this. Nice and clear, so when I milk the snakes you can see the venom running down into the bottom here. Now the reason I milk snakes, venomous snakes, is not really, I don't milk them at my house or at my snake room or anything like that very often, because I have no purpose on doing it. I do it at my shows to show people how it's done, but other than that I don't do it to make anti-venom for any scientific purposes or anything like that. From my understanding, in order to milk a snake and use the venom for scientific purposes, it needs to be done in like a laboratory, a sterile type, more of an environment. It needs to be freeze dried very quickly and everything, and I don't have any way of doing that. And honestly, what I do is I'm more of an educator. I do educational shows and everything else to educate people on snakes, their importance in the environment, so they don't go around killing all the snakes that they see, especially even venomous snakes, because people don't think venomous snakes have a part in our environment because they're dangerous. Well, venomous snakes, again, they do play a very important part, and we don't want to kill them just because of the fact that they're there and they might bite us. Most of the time we come into their area, their territory, and that's when we get injured. Pretty much we encroach onto their property, so that's usually they're just defending themselves. Now, one of the things I'm doing right now, and I just want to make a point of it because a lot of people may not realize it, is I am resting my hand on this cage, which probably isn't the best thing in the world. And as you can see, he's coming up to see what's going on here. Now, what I have learned, not from my own personal experience, but from experience of other people, is that pit vipers and true vipers can actually bite you through the screen lid. So I make very careful that I keep my hand when I shouldn't have my hand resting here to begin with, but when I pick up the enclosure and I move the enclosure, I make sure very careful that I keep my hands on the black plastic part. I don't keep my hand on the screen whatsoever. So if he were to pick up my heat signature here and he were to strike up, he could put his fangs, as you can see, look at him checking me out, he could put his fangs right through this screen and bite me. A few times I've even had rattlesnakes strike up at me, hit the screen, and almost spit venom on me because as soon as they hit the screen, they let the venom loose and it comes flying out. So even though they're not technically a spitting type of snake, when they do that, you can be covered in venom. And as you can see here, he was very interested in what my hand was. He sensed it with his heat. He is a pit viper. He's smelling. So he wants to know what I'm doing here. I've already unlocked the cage. I had a padlock on here. I already took that off. And the first thing I'm going to do is get my set of tubes, restraining tubes, which is what I have here. We're going to get the appropriate size restraining tube. They're all different sizes here. We can go way down here to very little baby snake, as you see with this one here, all the way up to a lot bigger snake, and I even have a set in there that we can put around the gaboon viper. It's about 4 inches in diameter if we need to. But today we're not going to need to get that big set. What we're going to need to do is use the one that I use the most, and unfortunately, because I use them so much, I really need to order a new set because some of mine are starting to crack at the end. But we're going to use this one. It's got black tape wrapped around the end, only because it has a little crack there and I don't want it to become larger. So what I'm going to do also now is I'm also going to use my Hex Armor gloves here. And again, with my videos, I have a theme of just keeping it real. And basically what that means is not trying to make a bigger production of what we're doing. When I do open the tops of my sliding critter tanks here, which I like because you can put a padlock in them, a lot of my critter tanks, I personally I've broken off the little tabs that keep the lid shut, because the lock will do the same thing, because I don't want to stick my hand over the screen and unlock it. So what I'll do is, if I still have some of the tabs attached, like this one has one, I'll use my hemostats to push up on it while I pull it back. This way my hand's not over top of the screen and he won't be striking at me. What we're going to do now is, again, I've always said I drill holes in the top of the hides so that I can just pick this hide right up off of him without any problem. And there is our little buddy today that we're going to be dealing with. Now I put both gloves on, and we take the tube. Now I'm going to want his head to be at the end of the tube that I can actually see, so we're going to get him hopefully to come in here. First thing we're going to do is we're going to try to get him just to crawl up into the tube all by himself. Sometimes that works, sometimes that don't. It all depends on the snake. So if I can get him to crawl up into the tube without having to pick him up, I'd rather have him do that. But I don't think he's going to be in the mind today to do that, which you can see he's not. So, being I do use the gloves, it gives me an advantage, because what I'm going to do is, he's already trying to come up and out. I'm just going to bring him up, and I'm going to move up toward his head here. At which point now, I still get a little too much on him here. Get him a little closer here. Now we can slide the tube over his head very simply. Whoop! Gotta watch those tails, man. We'll leave that down right now until we get him in here. And then we're gonna slide him up into here. He's trying to back his way out. And then once I get him in there most of the way, then I'll take the gloves off, because I get much better grip without the gloves on. Slide him up a little more now. There he goes. Now he's really musking. I can smell that. So now we'll set this back up here. What we're going to, set that back up. Usually my wife holds on to that. But she's out working now. One of us has got to make money. And we're going to get him to slide himself all the way through. He's being a little difficult right now, but he will stick. There he goes. He will stick his head all the way out. At which point, hopefully, we're going to take this and we're just going to simply push his mouth. There he goes. And he bit right on it really quick. Now, if I look at this right now, I'm going to show you right here, all by himself. I don't know if you can see that. He's got venom dripping down here. There's a drop of venom. So he did inject venom when he did that. We'll see if he'll do it again. Probably not. Nope. You don't want to do it twice. We're just going to let him slide out of the tube now, put him back in his tank real quick. And then I'm going to show you the other way of milking them, which some people do barehanded, which you'll never see me do, unless it would be absolutely necessary. I will never handle a venomous snake without wearing gloves, as far as grabbing them from behind their head. I've seen too many people bit that way. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to hook him. He's getting a little excited here. Also, my snake room right now is extremely warm, so he's at his most active. Get up under him here. Here we go. And then we'll move up on him here. And he's not going to like it when we get by his head. Then we hold, of course, by his head here, and we do the same thing. But now I'm going to have him here. I'll push on his venom glands, which are actually located right here toward the back of his head. and that should yield us the most venom. And then we'll stick him back in here. And again, I'm just doing this just for the sake of milking them. I'm doing it right now just to show you guys how it's done. I do it at my show to show other people. But on this side here, I can see if you can see it. It's kind of hard to notice it, but we have quite a bit of venom right down here. And most of that came from when I held him behind his head and actually pushed on his venom glands, and that made him push out venom. See, the thing is though, when a venomous snake bites you, they can do a couple things. They can, number one, give you a dry bite, which means they won't inject any venom into you whatsoever. They're just trying to get you to leave him alone. See, now he's kind of relocating his jaw a little bit. Or when they bite you, they have the choice of how much venom they actually want to inject into you. They never get rid of all their venom. So even though I've just milked him, if he were to bite me right now, because a lot of people think, okay, he doesn't have any venom left. Trust me, he does have venom. If he were to bite me right now, it would be a venomous bite. He doesn't play around. He does usually inject venom when he bites. Have you noticed he was yawning a couple times there? That's to realign his jaw, get his teeth back into place after he struck like that. So we just, like I said, just basically do this, show people how it's done. There's really no purpose of me doing it, not for scientific purposes. I'm not going to make anti-venom out of it. Matter of fact, this here is just a waste. I'll end up changing this, cleaning it out, and getting it ready for the next show that I do. So I hope you liked this video. I hope you subscribe to my channel. And if you did like what you saw today, give me a like. We really appreciate that, knowing that what we're doing, you guys are enjoying. Have a good day, guys.